ng Panginoon nung sabi niya, life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, it means justice. Huwag mo tayong magkamali. And it still can be observed even today, it must be observed today, so that in order to properly manage or observe order in a community. Now, let's go to the latter law, which is love your enemies. The latter law, which is love your enemies, has always been God's will for us. Para ipakita sa inyo na marami nagkakamali, na akala nila, para lang sa lumang tipan yung eye for eye, in the New Testament, it is love your enemies. Now, hindi po. Even the command to love your enemies was given even in the Old Testament time. How? Look at this passage in Exodus. Okay? Exodus chapter 23, verse 4 to 5. It says, If you come across your enemy's ox or donkey wandering off, be sure to take it back to him. If you see the donkey of someone who hates you fallen down under its load, do not leave it there. Be sure you help him with it. Ano utos? Pag yung meron kang kagalit at nakita mo yung alaga niyang hayop na hulog sa bangin, huwag mong pabayaan. Kunin mo at ano daw? Dalhin mo sa kanya. So, was the command? Enemy mo yun, ha? To get even with your enemy was there? No. Even the command to love our enemies was given in the Old Testament. Again, hindi lang mo yan. In Proverbs 25 verse 21 to 22, the command, if your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. So, ibig sabihin mga kapatid, kahit nung panahon pa ni Moses, o panahon pa ng ating mga ninuno, inutos na ibigin mo yung kapwa. It was not just a command today. It was not just a command for Christians. Even before. In fact, inulit mo yun sa Romans 12:20, quoting Proverbs 25, to show that God is consistent. Hindi mo siya nagbabago ng kanyang takbo ng isip. He commanded us before to love our enemies. Even today, God is commanding us to love our enemies. Pero bakit at this point, Jesus was pointing to us that as Christians, we have to emphasize loving our enemies. And not eye for eye, tooth for tooth, eye for eye. You know why? Because Jesus was expecting His people, His Christians, His disciples, to live a higher standard of conduct in this world. Contrary and opposite of this world. Ang ibig niyang sabihin mga kapatid, bilang mga anak niya, meron tayong mas mataas na pamantayan kung paano tayo makikitungo sa ating kapwa. It is not just justice. You can go beyond justice. You can even show mercy and love to your enemies and to those people who offended you. Amen po ba? Ibig sabihin, it's a notion that you choose. Whether you go to justice or you're going to express grace or mercy to the person na nagnakaw sa'yo, na agrabyado sa'yo. It's your choice. But God or Christ expects us to choose the latter part, which is loving our enemies. And He'll give us the reason why. Ito po yung pinapakita sa ating mga kapatid. So when I choose asking for justice, mga kapatid, hindi ibig sabihin na masama tayo. Huwag po tayo magkamali. Hello? Amen po ba? Is it right to ask for justice? Yes, that's justice. Pero, bilang mga anak ng Diyos, God and Christ expects us to live a higher standard, which is not just justice, but love and grace and mercy towards our enemies. In fact, ang tawag nga doon is indulgence or favor. You give favor to your enemies. By how? First, sabi ng Panginoon sa Kristo daw ulit, do good to those who hate you. Gawan mo ng mabuti yung alam mong taong masama ang loob sa iyo. Have you tried that? Mahirap po yata yan. If you know somebody na masama loob sa iyo, at medyo gagawa mo ng mabuti. Di ba? Again, because by nature, hindi tayo ganon. There was this guy, a professor, at 3 o'clock in the morning when he was sleeping, he was awakened by a call. And then when he answered the call, he said, he heard, Hello, this is Mr. Cruz. Your dog is barking loud. And what the professor did? Alright, thank you. You just put down the phone. The next day, this professor, na tinawagan nun ng kapitbahay niya, called the other guy, 3 o'clock in the morning. And he said, "Good morning, Mr. Cruz. I am your neighbor, and I don't have a dog." Bakit? Para makabawi siya sa kapitbahay niya. 3 o'clock in the morning. Simple lang ano? Diba? Subtle way of taking a vengeance. Whatever that person did to him, binalik niya lang. And that's our tendency. Minsan, magaling daw kung tayo dyan kung paano tayo babawi. Pakitignan yung katabi mo. Ikaw ba yung kapatid? Diba? We are so wise in taking a vengeance. But the Bible says, okay? The Bible says, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. You cannot overcome evil with evil. You can only overcome evil with good. Hindi mo kayang pagtagumpayan ng isang masama ng masama ring bagay. Sa pag ginawa mo na yung masama ka na rin. You can only overcome evil with good. And Jesus again said, the second thing, do good to those who hate you. The next thing is bless those who curse you. What do you mean blessing? It means speaks well of the person. It means it's a word that declares blessing or favor to a person. Why? It's so much easier for people to use speech in a negative way than a positive way. It is so much easier to lash out at people than it's to use our speech to build them. Ito naman yun. Lalo pag Pilipino, magaling po tayo talaga mamuna eh. Magaling tayo gumawa ng mga salita, magsalita ng mga bagay that will make others laugh, but also will put down others. But when people choose to use their speech to lash out on others, who have hurt them, all they're doing, kapag ginawa natin yun, we're not actually killing the fire or destroying the fire. We're just putting gas onto the fire. Ibig sabihin, mas lalo lang pinalalala yung sunog by getting a vengeance by using our words. Proverbs 15:1 says, a harsh word stirs up anger. Diba? Yung masakit na salita, kapag mainit na, at may away na, dagdagan mo pa ng masakit na salita, gagatong lang yan. At lalaki ang sunog. Okay? That's why Jesus said, bless those who curse you. Cursing is mocking or saying bad words against you. And you cannot win by doing the same thing. Sabi ni Jesus, you want to overcome them? Bless those who curse you. If we do say words that will hurt them, we're actually rubbing salt in a wound, or we know what will happen kapag ang isang sugat ay inaplayan ng asin. Sigurado sisigaw ka. Sabdi. Ganon din pong ginagawa ng salitang masakit kapag may sunog na. Lumalaki lang ang sunog dahil sa ating salita. Again, Proverbs will tell us, reckless words pierce like a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Yun bang salita mo yung nagpapalaki ng sunog? O nagdadala ng gamot sa sugatang damdamin? Okay? Watch out for your words. Pag-isabi sa katabi yung, watch out for your words.
Watch out for your words.
Bless those who curse you. Thirdly, sabi ni Jesus, pray for those who mistreat you. He used the word mistreat, meaning take advantage of you. Inabuso ka ba? Yan. Pray for those. Alam niyo, pag naabuso kayo, mahirap kalimutan. Hello? Sino po sa inyo naranasan ng manakawan dito? Pakita sa kamay. Okay? Marami. Ayun, marami. When we're still living, I think 10 years, 7 years ago, when we moved to another house, mga kapatid, the first time we where we're robbed. Ano po? Hindi ko nalatang na nakawan yung bahay namin. I didn't notice that. Alam niyo kung bakit? Walang nagalaw. Pero nung hinahanap ko na yung isang bagay na kailangan ko, nakawala. And then when I look for another one, nakawala rin. Then I realized na nakawan kami. Alam niyo kung bakit? Because the robber is wise. Wala siyang gagawin lahat na magulo para hindi manotice. Ang magaling. Talagang hindi mapapansin. So, we reported that to the police. They made an investigation. And lo and behold, 2 weeks after, again, we were robbed. When I pushed the door, nabuksan ka agad. And this time, nawala na yung DVD, nawala na yung medyo lumaki na ng konti. Okay? But, nagpa-progress yung magnanakaw. Talaga naman, malaki improvement ng magnanakaw. And so we made the report again. Next month, again, the robber this time searched our rooms. Nag-improve na talaga siya. You know the feeling that you're being robbed? You're taken advantage of. Naabuso ka. Mahirap. Brothers and sisters in the Lord, wala akong problema, mawalan ako ng gamit. I know that these things, hindi mo pwedeng panghawakan. But the feeling of being taken advantage, being mistreated and abused, really is inside of you. Masakit din pala. Kasi alam mo, inaabuso ka. Ba, ilang beses na akong nagawa ito. Yung minsan lang, okay lang sana. Pero ulit-ulitin pa, aba, ginawa pa ako sugi ng magnanakaw na ito. You are being mistreated, you are being abused, you are taken advantage. And what? It lingers on your mind. Yun po problema mga kapatid. If you're mistreated, if you're abused, it lingers on your mind. Nasa utak mo yan. And it's hard to overcome. That's why Jesus' solution is to pray for those who mistreated you. Bakit? Bakit prayer? Pag pray mo na sana masagasaan ng tao. Lord, para pumahin po ito sana. Okay? Hindi po. Because when you pray, you cannot pray without being honest with the Lord. Amen. Totoo. Di ba? Pag nanalangin kang hindi mo sinasabi sa Panginoon yung sakit na nararamdaman mo, hindi ka makakalaya. You have to tell God that you are offended. You have been mistreated. But secondly, you cannot remain praying, harboring something in your heart. A person who really prayed was able to open up himself to the Lord, was able to release his pain to the Lord. So that after he prays, he's a new person. The burden is not there anymore. If you're praying and the burden is still there, I think you did not pray. Because praying is giving to the Lord the burden of our hearts. Amen po ba? Amen. Yun ang totoong panalangin. That's why you cannot remain angry. You cannot remain a big bitter pa rin. That's why Jesus is wise. When you're mistreated, pray. Because He knows that's the real antidote. Ang real na source ng problema ay yung puso ng tao na gumagawa ng problema na yun ang pagnanakaw. Many, many times, we just solve yung mga symptoms ng problema. Halimbawa, okay, we are used to sleeping late in the evening because of our work, or maybe because some of us just simply got used to it. Sleeping late in the evening. Inaabot tayo ng 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. And I am the same person. Ano po? And minsan, paggising sa umaga, sakit ng ulo. Di ba? So what do we do? May sakit sa ulo dahil sa kuya. What do? We try to be away from noisy things. Kung gusto natin tahimik lang. Or we take medicines that will help us to really ease the pain. Pero hindi natin binabago yung solusyon, yung source ng problema. The source of the problem is you stay late in the evening. Amen po ba? Sometimes, when we deal with people, halimbawa, na-offend ka, nasaktan ka, na-mistake ka, and you respond the same thing. We are dealing with the symptoms rather than the issue, which is the heart. Ang tao na nagkabyado, ang tao gumagawa ng masama sa'yo, may problema sa katotohanan na sa kanyang kalooban, sa kanyang puso. And only God can change the heart of a person. Amen po ba? That's why Jesus very wise saying, pray for those who mistreat you. Pray that God will change their heart. Kailangan ang panalangin po natin ay sa puso ng tao, hindi yung panlabas ng natin nakikita. It's hard to be abused and to be mistreated. It lingers on your mind. Kaya iba talagang hindi makatulog, yak na yak, hirap na hirap. Pati pagpapatawad. It's a torture in your mind. Totoo po yan. Diba? Kapag na-mistreat ka, I don't know, kung kayo yung nasa kalagayan sa forever mo. Nainiwan na itong kapagod mo, 2 taon. It lingers, 2 years, binuhin mo. Iniiwan ka na lang walang pasabi. There's this guy, a soldier, American soldier. He was actually assigned overseas, sa abroad. Okay? And during his term, ng kanyang paglilingkod, he received a letter from her girlfriend. Unfortunately, yung letter, he was being break up doon sa kanyang relasyon doon sa babae. Nakipag-iwalay na sa kanya. Sabi dun sa letter, ito masakit. Iiwan na siya ng babae. Because hindi kaya siguro yung long distance relationship. And the hardest part is this. Because at the bottom of the letter, the PS, it says, will you please return my favorite photograph of myself? Sabi ng babae sa sundalo. Kindly return my favorite photograph of myself because I need it for my engagement picture to be published in the local newspaper. Ang sakit ano? Pinababalik yung picture dahil gagamitin para sa publication. And now, yung kanya engagement sa isang lalaki. Talaga naman, durog yung puso ng sundalo, iyak ng iyak. And it was heard by all yung kanyang kasamang sundalo. So, ginawa na ang kasamang sundalo, yung ginawa. One thing is amazing. The guys, kaya minsan, dito makikita kung gano'ng ano yung mga lalaki. Balik sila. Okay? Ginawa ng mga lalaki is that, lahat ng sundalo, they gathered all their pictures ng mga girlfriend nila. Lahat sila nagbigay ng picture ng mga girlfriend na. Sabi nila, padala mo yan at lagay mo sulat na ito. So pinadala po at nakalagay doon, please find your picture and return the rest. I can't remember which one you were among my girlfriends. Matalino talaga yung mga lalaki. Sa kalokohan. We can sense a little bit of gratification or inner desire for vindication sa mga ganitong scenario, di ba? Minsan, gusto nga natin buti nga sa Kanya. But Jesus said, again, vengeance is mine. I will repay, said the Lord. Ano ulit sabi ng Panginoon? Vengeance is mine. Let me ask you this. Honestly, mga kapatid, sometimes we people and even Christians are guilty of robbing God. Ninanakawan natin ang Diyos. Kailan natin ninanakawan ng Diyos? Ano sabi ng Bible? Ha? Well, when you don't give your rights. Pero alam mo po ba, may bang pagnanakaw na ginagawa ang tao sa Diyos? Ano yun? When you revenge on others, ninanakawan mo yung Diyos. Bakit? Kasi sabi ng Diyos, vengeance is mine. Pag kinuha mo yung vengeance, ninakawan mo yung Diyos. Ewan ko nakuha niyo. When you revenge, you're actually robbing God of the right to take the vengeance in His hands. Hello? Okay, nagulit na kami na pagkasabi mo muna nakawa ng Diyos ko. Praying for your enemies can actually guard your heart from any form of bitterness and anger. Because according to research, okay, people who do not forgive are more stressed. People who do not forgive are more depressed. Siyempre, stress ka leading to depression. Okay? People who don't forgive are often has higher divorce. Marunong magpatawa. And people who don't forget constantly suffer from strokes. Diba? Why? Because another guy said, si Dogsky, sabi niya, hating your enemies is just a prolonged form of suicide. Kapag may galit ka daw sa kapwa mo, may hate ka, unti-unti ka daw nag-commit ng suicide. Pakitignan ulit yung katabi mo. Pakita daw, ikaw ba yung kapatid? May sama ka pa na loob. Okay? Pinapatay mo sa sarili mo kapag ikaw ay may sama na loob. Okay? It's just like a snake. Dinapuan mo siya ng yung bang bubuyog. At yung bubuyog talagang umikot-ikot sa kanya, pinagtutusok siya. Galit na galit mo yung ahas, di niya alam kung ang gagawin niya. All throughout, iwas siya ng iwas, pero talaga namang umisting siya ng beat. You know what? Out of frustration, ang ginawa ng ahas, nilagay niya yung ulo niya sa kulong para magulungan ng sasakyan. Parang sa pareho silang patay. Sometimes, hindi natin alam, ganun din pala ginagawa natin when we take revenge. We thought that we can kill our enemy, but we fail to realize, kasama rin pala tayo napakahama. Right? Killing the snake says, will not kill the snake bite. That's why when Abraham Lincoln was asked why he was pardoning the Confederate or the Southerners nung nagkaroon ng Civil War sa Amerika noon, nung mahuli lahat ng mga Confederates, tinanong si Abraham Lincoln, bakit mo sila pinapatawad? Why are you pardoning them? Don't you want to destroy your enemies? Abraham Lincoln says, is that not what I do when I make my enemies my friends? Di ba? Pinapatay ko yung mga kaaway ko kapag ginawa ko silang kaibigan. It's true. You want to destroy your enemies, kaibiganin nyo sila. Pakisabi sa katabi mo, kakaibiganin kita kapag. Third and lastly, you want to love your enemies, be inspired by the reward. Be inspired by the reward. Verse 32 and 36 says, mga kapatid, this we're going to end. Sabi dito, ng talata natin, if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. Ano sabi dito? Kung gumagawa ka ng mabuti, doon sa gumagawa ng mabuti sa'yo, anong pinagkaiba mo sa iba? Ginagawa rin ng iba yan, na hindi mananampalataya. Di ba? Pareho lang. Ito yung alang-alang ng mundo eh. Mabait ka kapag mabait din yung kapwa mo. Mabait sila kapag mabait ka rin. Pareho lang kayo. Hindi kindness yun mga kapatid. If you do good things to somebody who do good things to you, ang tawag doon business, hindi kindness. Di ba? Kasi nagbigay ka ng maganda. Babayaran ka niya ng maganda. Business yun. Tanungin niyo yung mga nagro-royan. Alam niyo yan? Business po yan. It's not kindness. Alright? That's why, what is Jesus saying to us? What's the reward? The reward is this. First, if you will love your enemies, you will stand up. Pakisabi natin, stand up. Stand up. Magiging iba ka. Bakit? The ordinary setting or standard is that you do good to those who do good to you. But when you do good to those who do evil to you, that's something. Why? Okay. Is this, doing evil for good belongs to the devil. Kapag may gumawa na mabuti sa'yo, sinuklihan mo ng masama, ay masama ka. Tama ba? Di ba? Nagpakita ng mabuti yung kapwa mo, kasi sinuklihan mo ng masama, masama ka. Dahil kay Satanas yun. Sa demonyo yun, mga kapatid. But if you do good to those who do good to you, makatao ka. That belongs to you, man. But if you do good for evil, you belong to God. You stand out. Naiba. Hello, amen po ba? Amen. Secondly, you not only not just standing out, but also, by loving your enemies, you start to stand for God. You start to represent God. Bakit? Sabi po ng talata kanina, be merciful as your Father is merciful. You represent a God who's merciful when you love your enemies. Sometimes we are so harsh with our enemies that because we fail to forget, nakikinabatan lang naman tayo ng Diyos. Mga kapatid, ito po ang ganda. Whenever I do and prepare a message, I see to it that it hit me first before it hits you. In the past week, I was struggling on this because there are some people who are irritating me. I know what the things that they're doing. I already talked to them, but they're still doing it. And sometimes, I wasn't able to notice that I starting to be irritated with an action. But I realized after contemplating, am I not becoming so harsh to them? Well, in fact, God is just merciful to me. And I started to change my attitude. I was burdened by that, but because God showed me, I have shown you mercy. The same way, you should show mercy to those whom you call as enemies. Mahirap po yan, mga kapatid, but we have to be aware. Because when we do, we'll start to stand for God. God will be seen in our lives. Pag-umpisa makita ng mga tao na hindi na ikaw yan, sa kanang bagong nilalang. I don't know if you know this guy, Tamrat Lane. I just watched his testimony this morning. Pag-gising ko, pag-open ko ng computer ko, God opened this to me. His testimony is that he is a Prime Minister of Ethiopia who started the revolution. Tatlo lang sila magkakaibigan. They went to a forest, 12 of them, and started to build a Yucatan force. And they were able to raise 150 people who will topple down the government of Ethiopia and start the communist government. And they did. He was successful. He became the prime minister. His friend became the president, and the other one is the defense secretary. Unfortunately, during the process, he thought that the hope of the nation is communism. But during the process, he learned, natutunan niya, wala nangyayaring pagbabago sa bansa namin. So, he seek for other things. He thought democracy, that will be solution. And so, na-notice ng mga kaibigan na nagbabago na siya. And nung pinaglalaban niya ng demokrasya, ginawa siya ng kaso ng kanyang kaibigan matalik, yung kasama niya na nagpabagsak ng gobyerno, at ikinulong siya. Sa kanyang kulungan, because they only believe that freedom comes from the barrel of God. Sa kulungan, naghirap siya for 17 years, na pinaglaban nila yun. This time, he was in prison for 12 weeks. For 12 weeks. But in the prison cell, there was this nurse who attended to her. That's why malaki minsan ang role ng mga nurse. Because it was prohibited to talk to him, but this nurse, ang ginawa niya, there was a tract about the Lord Jesus Christ, inipit lang doon sa kanyang tray, food tray, at binigay dito kay Tama. When this guy started to read it, na-realize niya that he, the only person who can change him and he can change his country is the Lord Jesus Christ. And he prayed, Lord, if you're really true, show me yourself. Mga kapatid, lumiwanag sa kanyang paligid 3 times. And suddenly, he humbled himself before the Lord. Amazingly, Jesus, during that process, promised him that you will be set free after 12 years. And it happened. Nakalaya po siya. The first thing that he did, He called his friend, the president, "Can I see you?" And the guy said, "I'll call you back." In 2 days, he was asked to come. And then, nung nakapunta siya, nakapasok, yung kanyang kaibigan presidente, nakatayo lang, walang ginagawa. Nakatayo lang sa kanya. But he approached his president, yung kanyang kaibigan, and he did something extraordinary. Niyakap niya and said, "I love you and I forgive you." Nagulat yung presidente. "Are you still tama? Or are you a new guy?" Since then on, mga kapatid, his life started to change. Yung kanyang pamilya, na naipatapon sa Kenya, he was reunited with them. Everything was changed by the Lord. Now, he's starting to be a witness for God for what God has done in his life. Why? Because he learned to forgive his enemy, his best friend. Ang pinakamasakit sa kanya, na naranasan niya, hindi umakulong siya, sabi niya. The greatest pain that I received is not the prison cells, but the prison done to me by my friend, the prison of pain, because I was in prison by my best friend. But he learned to forgive. Brothers and sisters in the Lord, sabi ni Martin Luther King, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Kung may kaaway kayo, ang tanging kapangyarihan na pagpabago sa kanila ay pag-ibig at mahalin sila. Why? Because once we were his enemies, we were brought back to God by the death of his sons. That is in Romans. Minsan tayong kaaway ng Diyos. Pero hindi niya tayo tinakwil. Hindi niya tayo ginantihan. Anong ginawa ng Panginoon? Inibig na tayo. Pinadala niya si Kristo. And this is the beautiful thing whenever we celebrate the Lord's Supper. You know why? We should always cherish doing this and reflect that we were once God's enemies, but God welcomes us, loves us, so that we can be a part of His family and partake of the suffering that Jesus made. That's why this afternoon, I challenge you, as Jesus told, love your enemies. God bless us all. Darako po tayo sa pananapunan ng proceed, and we are calling our elders to join us. We would like to everyone